Democrats in both the House and Senate have introduced a great piece of legislation, which is very almost weird to say at this point, but it's an amazing piece of legislation that would put term limits on the United States Supreme Court and allow every single president to appoint at least 2 justices during their terms. So if you get 2 terms, you get 4 justices. Here is how the plan works. What it does, this is the Supreme Court Tenure Establishment and Retirement Modernization Act. And it says that every new president gets to appoint a Supreme Court justice in the first and third years after the presidential election. So basically, you get to do one right after you get sworn in. You get to do a second one after the midterms. So we're talking about 2 appointments in non-election years, to avoid that Mitch McConnell rule that only Republicans are allowed to break. So there you have it. And when they nominate a new one, the most senior judge on that court, which at this point would be Clarence Thomas, is then moved to senior status. So that way you keep 9 justices on the court, but this one is just moved to senior status, which means they don't hear cases. They really don't do much of anything. They're kind of a figurehead. They're there for guidance if you need it, but they still get paid. They can still have a staff. They can still, be important. They still get to retain the title. You just don't really get to do anything. And the next time a justice comes, the oldest, longest serving justice at that point also moved to senior status. If something happens with the justice, they drop out, they pass away, whatever it is, and you're down to 8. The most recent senior status judge comes back to the court until a replacement can be fixed. So you always end up with 9. So they've kind of, covered every possible base with this piece of legislation. And allowing every single president the opportunity to appoint at least 2 justices to that court makes it more fair. If you're a Democrat, you get at least 2 justices. Republican, you get 2 too. And we just keep on doing that. And every time a new one comes, the oldest, longest serving, boom, you're out of there. And nobody can serve for more than 18 years. This is a good plan. This is a good piece of legislation. This is a piece of legislation that if we can pass it, we can reshape the way the Supreme Court operates. We would no longer be beholden to judges like Clarence Thomas, who's been serving since the George H.W. Bush administration. That man has been on that court now for over 30 years. He needs to go for so very many reasons. And we can put an end to that. We can stop these people from serving on this court for years and years after the person who appointed them has passed on. That's what we need in this country. That's what a majority of Americans want, by the way. A majority of people in this country want term limits for Supreme Court justices. This legislation from the Democrats gives it to them. And by God, I hope that it passes. This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.